Give me a moment to get this so that it works.
Still not working.
It's not on the live page. I have to update it.
Oh, I got you. Okay.
That's why doing it this way sucks. Talk about other interesting things while I do this, because your XSplit is recording while this is going on.
Okay.
Just say some funny things. Go, funny, now.
Welcome, Phoenix PC Repair and Glenn and
They can't hear you yet.
No.
You just have to be funny for people that watch it on YouTube.
Well, all you YouTubers, hey, you hear the one about the chicken who crossed the road?
To get to the idiot's house? I heard that one. Knock, knock.
I refuse.
Alright, almost there.
Wait for it.
All right, I'm going to share my screen and show everybody a map to Michael's house.
Okay.
Go
for it.
No.
Is it the really detailed one you were talking about before?
Oh, yeah. Satellite imagery, the whole 9 yards.
Awesome.
We can see his new roof.
Very
Oh, yeah,
nice.
that's got a couple holes in it already. Hey, Michael, did you hear back from that data grab guy?
No.
Okay. Oh, I think, we should mention data grab today, since that was just a topic of the day. We could talk a little bit about data grab online on the show, if you want to.
Yeah,
Show it off. It's a very useful tool.
Yeah, I think that'll go well to fill up the time.
All
that long.
We should be on the air now. If you're watching us, you don't have to refresh your browsers. If you're not, refresh your browsers. I'm typing that right now, so hang on tight. Apparently, YouTube is not liking Hangout scheduled events and then broadcasting anymore, so we're going to have to figure out a different way. Maybe if we schedule it right through YouTube instead of going through Hangouts on air, who knows? It's like they break all the stuff. That's what Google's good at now.
Well, not really Google's fault.
Why? Google is owns YouTube, and we're starting a Hangouts on Air live through Google, so yeah, I'm blaming Google.
Thought we were going to blame YouTube, but
YouTube is Google.
I don't think they talk to each other. I really don't, regardless of where,
They're all... It doesn't matter if they talk to each other, and they do talk to each other. They have to talk to each other. I have a Google Play Music subscription. I got YouTube Red for free. If anyone didn't know that, that's awesome, by the way. Just want to let you know that.
Do I get that with my Prime, too? By the way, I forgot to ask that. Yeah.
Why would you get that with your Prime?
Because I have music with it. Oh, you're talking about Google Play Me? Oh, yeah. No, I don't have that. I have Amazon. Sorry.
What?
Okay.
Hey, Michael,
Sorry.
check out the chat in the live show. Does that take up too much real estate?
Shut up.
I was looking at it. I didn't think it did, but I didn't look at it full screen. I don't know if I'll pull that up. Otherwise, welcome everyone to the Foolish Tech Show. We're here to answer questions and interact with our clients about our software primarily. But if you are not in our IRC chat and you're not talking to us or asking that stuff, we're going to talk about stuff that other people request, or we'll just talk about random tech stuff like we're in a tech shop, as we would normally do. Proctor, that is covering up the Foolish IT logo that you have there.
Yeah, I know that, but you could read it a lot better.
Go back down to where it's not covering the Foolish IT logo.
I'm working on it.
Because not everybody has the Foolish IT logo. That's kind of nice to have. I guess you could put it down at the bottom left, though.
Oh, yeah.
Zombie Worm is making fun of Johnny. But yeah, I guess...
You could also just put it on top.
Oh yeah, you could do that. But then if people type really long, it's going to go all the way over there and go under it.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, this is probably stuff we shouldn't be doing live on the air to figure out. Take it back below the logo so that it's not getting cut off by the logo. I want to see what it looks like reading-wise. Because you could also probably just increase your font size in HexChat. Anyway, we'll see. Today's we will be talking about dFunk and kind of just going over some of the features and ways to use that. I'm not doing a malware system today, so that way we can kind of just focus on dFunk and what's in it and how to use it and some of the nifty tricks and features and such on there. Yeah, Proctor, that is, it's readable, but it's just a small font size. So I think if you just have a bigger font in HexChat, that'll be fine. My concern with taking it all the way to the other side is then you'd be getting really low to cutting people's heads off because it's a pretty big box by that point.
Right.
All right. So Zombie Worm has been looking forward to an intense dFunk. So this is for Zombie Worm. It was one of the things he requested. By the way, if you're watching our stream and you're not in our IRC chat, jump over to foolishtechshow.com. You can join our IRC chat there and talk with us directly and be a part of the conversation. That's what we are here for. It's for you to interact with us. We got Phoenix PC Repair, Zombie Worm, Glenn, and Such One, which is not Such One Chicken, which Michael was saying for some reason, but was talking about Szechuan Chicken. We don't know where he got that. But anyway, give me a sec here, and I have things set up so we can check it out. Before we jump into dFunk, though, I do want to give an honorable mention to DataGrab. We actually had a person that's using it and really, really liked it. It saved him a lot of trouble, and he said we should be charging a lot of money for it. So thank you, person, for saying that. It is a pretty good program. Nick used it a lot when he first made it, and I've used it once or twice before. Proctor, you said you use it?
Yeah, I use it all the time. I use it all the time to back up data.
I'm not sure if Nick had any plans to do updates for it on D7X. I see he's listening there. Is he able to respond?
I got plans for everything, man.
All right, so there's possible updates for data grab coming in the future with D7X, which will be really nice. Hopefully the plans aren't to take it away. So, Proctor, your hex chat screen isn't catching the bottom line of what Glenn just said.
Yeah, I noticed that. Happened when I changed the font size.
Oh, yeah. You can just remove it and re-add it real quick. Glenn says he still uses data grab, and actually Glenn typed that sentence just to be a pain about it. That's funny. Good job, Glenn. Thank you for testing that for us. We can always count on Glenn. Also, Proctor, if you want to make sure I'm selected, then I'll have the screen here.
All right, you are selected.
All right, so this is where data grab is, and this is dFunk. So we're going to go ahead and launch it up. And a little bit more about dFunk's background. D7 actually originally started off with some of the features that you saw in Malware Scan, which if you're a user of D7 Premium or D7 Original, you will have seen Malware Scan. Maybe not a lot of people used it because it wasn't exactly forthright. Plus, it does take some effort on your side to find and remove things and use it and work with it. The key thing about it, though, is back before the times of scanners and hundreds of antiviruses and malware bytes and combo fix, and back before all these times, we had basically Adware and Spybot was the only things that Nick and I really had. We had maybe an antivirus scanner or two, but we didn't really have a lot of things to catch viruses, and we were mainly working with XP and Vista at the time. But basically what we ended up having to do was finding files that they found and then going and researching them more, or ending up and going through the registry, checking for locations that Windows used to start things up to be able to find out why this process or program keeps running, keeps firing back up on us. And I will admit, Nick found most of those registry locations. I think that's kind of what he did when he went home, was just looked for Windows startup locations. And he found a lot of them. And basically it was kind of a hands-on, you clean up the malware using your knowledge about Windows and the ability to know what things should be where and why they should be there or not be there. You also find out a lot of interesting things about other programs along the way, so it's definitely a nice thing. But the other great thing about it is it doesn't rely on definitions. So definitions basically are only as good as what they know about. And for a definition to be good from a malware or antivirus, it has to have researched that infection, gotten that infection, hashed it, analyzed it so it fingerprints or whatever, and then pushed it out through an update. And then you have to make sure that your stuff is updated to be able to catch those newest, latest infections. This way takes a separate approach, kind of like we do with Crypto Prevent, just look at it from a different angle. This one takes a separate approach to you go through and look for files that shouldn't be where they are, and just random other junk can get cleaned up at the same time. Same thing with the file system is in the registry, looking for things that are in the registry that shouldn't be there. most everything on Windows is controlled by the file system or the registry. There are some rootkits and various things like that that you can't particularly see through there, but there are other tools to check those kind of things. And really, if you're infected with a rootkit, you're going to see signs of it other places, so not just in the hidden locations that you can't get to, but your computer is going to act weird. You're going to have other malware on there at least, so you can go through and clean that stuff up at the worst. So what we're going to do here is kind of go over how we came about these locations and what they're for, why they're for, and some of the advanced features in dFunk as compared to Malware Scan. Because what I was saying originally is Malware Scan was basically what D7 version 1 alpha was. It was just the registry hacks here, a few of these registry inspection things, and I don't even know if it had any of the file system stuff. I want to say it didn't. Actually, I can just show that off since we're here.
I did. Well, I don't know about if it was in the D7, but it was always either the plan or it was there, I thought, because I did a lot of the file system stuff I had actually adapted from batch scripts I used long before. So.
Yep. So let me minimize this so that doesn't get confusing, but this was D7 version 1 alpha. Doesn't even have a... Oh no, it does. It's up here. So this is alpha, and basically you can see it's got those same registry things. Got the registry hijacks. It's got some temp folder stuff and FS Hunt. None of the third-party tools. Didn't even have services and such at the time. Did have the targeted offline stuff, but not a lot of stuff in there for D7 version 1 alpha. You don't have any of the customization or the ability you have, but you can kind of see the similarities between Malware Scan, which was included with D7 original, as basically an internal function custom app. But lots of changes since version 1 alpha to get to d7II, where Malware Scan has received its first real major update since it was in D7 Premium, or D7 Original. And the major update came as a part of I was going through cleaning up malware systems, and afterwards I was always one to make sure everything was removed. So a lot of the times you remove malware even with scanners and things like that. They don't get everything. Uninstalls are especially notorious for this. They don't get everything. So I was always going through the file system and checking a lot of these locations by hand afterwards. And I was like, dude, I shouldn't have to leave D7 for this. Why don't we throw this into dFunk and have that? And he was like, that's a great idea. And then I'll update it for other tabs and stuff and all kinds of things, which we'll talk more about here shortly. So that's what he did, and did a great job with that. We did end up taking out the blacklist side of it, because basically what your objective is with dFunk is if you've seen it before and it's good, then it's already whitelisted. If you have it show up in one of these scans, then it's not whitelisted yet, and either you haven't seen it before or it's bad. So if you've seen it before and you know it's bad, you can delete it pretty quickly. If you haven't seen it before, you can do some research with the tools that are in here to find out more about it and be able to determine if you should whitelist it or delete it. because those are really the only two things that you're going to end up doing. It's either going to be whitelisting it so you don't have to see it again, or deleting it. Ideally, what you want to have in here is nothing shows up, so that when you're doing these scans, you just click each one of these sections and nothing shows up, and then you're good. So let's check that out a little bit here. Normally I would start in the file system inspection. For an online system, you would obviously pick the C drive. If you have an offline system, you can pick that drive letter and it will scan for that Windows on that offline drive and set all these locations to that offline drive. You would have to hit apply drive change, so just make sure you're aware of that. But first we'll start off with this suspicious files. And what this is doing is there's a lot of files in certain locations that are just known to be bad, and that's what Nick is scanning for here. Is over time, over all these years, he's come up with a great list of files that are just in bad spots, shouldn't be there, or named a specific way. So he has all of those on a list here, and this scans for all of those. As you can see with this one, we're not getting anything. Clean system wouldn't think that there would be. Temp directories is here, and you can see everything in all the Windows, all the Windows temp locations all end up showing up into here. And normally you'll want to delete this out, especially if you're running scans and stuff after this, because normally I go through with dFunk first and then run my scans as an additional backup for anything that I may have missed. But you can pretty much clean up an entire system with just dFunk if you're willing to put in the effort for it. And the effort pays off, because next time you see those files, you'll be able to know what they are, why you're deleting them, and delete them. So usually though, for this temp file location, I always try to make sure that I run the delete temp files and delete temp internet files first. This goes through and does a lot of stuff for you quickly, easily, and the way he does delete here does the same things, but I just normally go through and have these two run first, then I'll run dFunk. So just the way I like to do it. If you like to see what's in the temp folders, more than welcome to come in here. Then we have this custom scan, and you'll see at the bottom of each of these file sections, or at the top on Windows and the other ones, you have custom user profile scans, custom Windows directory scans, custom program file scans, and just custom entire partition scan. So what these options are is they give you this extremely powerful search utility box here. So give me 1 second.
Brantley?
Sorry about that.
The live feed is a little blurry. Is there anything you can do to make it better?
How's it blurry?
I don't know, but I have it full screen and it's blurry. Looks good in Hangouts, looks good in XSplit, doesn't look good online.
I'm looking at it widescreen on mine and it looks fine.
Okay. Well, it looks a little better now. Maybe it's my eyes. No, that's real bad.
Well, I know when you first start the full screen, it blurs, and then it like adjusts its resolution or something. Or John G is saying he thought it was just his connection. I noticed whenever I
think it started when John G started watching the live stream. We're on the same network.
That might be it. Here, I mean, the only thing I can do to make things bigger would be to decrease the resolution here. Which I can do that, I guess. But then that's going to look weird here. I don't know, does that help you read those things any better?
No.
I doubt it will. Yeah, it's going to be hard to do that, so I'm going to go back to the regular screen resolution because that's nicer.
Glenn says the lag is not that bad today.
Well, that's good. All right. So the custom file search box, basically what we have here is a way to search these custom locations pretty powerfully. You can either search for all file types except these, and you can even specify extensions, or you can search for only these type of files if you're only looking for something specific. This one is the one I use most of the time, and I actually just look for all file types. But if you're looking at documents folders or something like that, you can definitely take off your Office files, could probably take off your text files, although I would not recommend that one since if you do that, you might not see some of those encryption things. So I'm not sure why y'all are getting fuzzy screen. Yeah, blame Google for it, like Glenn said. Because I have it full screened on one of my monitors down here, and it looks crisp and clear. Maybe wipe all the oil and fingerprints off your phone there, John G. Anyway, MISC files wouldn't do the text files because your encrypted things will come up and have basically a text file that they put in hundreds of locations on the file system. And that's how I noticed that, was because I didn't check MISC files and was looking at text files and things like that. But it could be checked here, and then you can just add the .txt if you wanted to go that route. Media files, obviously, you probably don't need to check out their pictures or MP3s if you're looking for malware and viruses. John G said it was pizza grease, not fingerprints. Anyway, you can also specify additional extensions if you wanted to look for specific ones there. And the search only is if you know you're looking for an executable or a command prompt, you can look for those, or a lot of times DLLs can be bad ones, so you can use these three just to search for bad ones, and then specify additional ones, or even especially ones with no extensions. But like I said, normally I use this one. It's up to you on which way you want to go with that, and basically what your situation is that you're trying to do there. If you look over on this side, you got even more search options. And this is where some of the real power comes in. You can find new files if they're X amount of days old. So you ask the client when they drop the system off, hey, when did all this stuff start happening for you? And they're like, oh, this just started happening last week. So go ahead and probably put it 2 weeks out, because people are terrible with telling time. If you don't find anything with that small window of things, you can set it to 30 days out, and then just uncheck it to find everything if you still aren't finding anything. But really where this really comes into handy is you go through, you clean out a system, you know everything's clean and good and gone. You give it back to the client, and then they come back the next 3 days when they finally start up their computer and use it, reinfect it again, and then bring it back to you. So in that case, you know you gave it to the client 3 days ago and it was clean. You can just find files that are newer than 3 days old that have been created since then, and then you can also tell them you reinfected this. This was only created 3 days ago. So we deleted all these files for you again. That'll be extra money and not covered under warranty because this is a separate malware incident. Extremely good for those type of situations. You can search subdirectories infinitely deep or specific amounts. You can include directories in your results. So right alongside of files, you'll see directories, which I usually use this especially when I'm in like program files or common program files. I use that to go ahead and delete out some of the larger ones that may contain a bunch of files that I'm going to end up deleting under that anyway. So probably what I would do first is not have the subdirectories checked, include directories in the result, clean and prune that, and then go back and search subdirectories. So usually that's how I use that. And again, you search, find nothing, or whitelist everything you need to, search again with different filter options, gives you a little bit wider view, and then kind of move it out like that. Or if you're good on time, just search with everything, search infinite deep and include directories, include junctions, and usually this is how I would search if I wanted just to search for everything. These check marks don't apply, but just to not confuse people. If I wanted to search for everything in each one of these locations, I would just check this, this, and this. So search all file types, search subdirectories, infinite, include directories and results, and include junctions and results. So I would just search like that, and let's go ahead and see what it gets back here. So we got a couple of temporary internet cache directories, and here you can see some of the nice features inside of the the file system and window of items it finds here. You can tell quickly that this is a hidden directory, and it's in the hidden directory. So not only is this a hidden directory itself, but it is also inside of a hidden directory. We're going to cancel this scan because it's going to scan a lot of these other locations down here. But basically, this is extremely nice. Again, red is not mentioning that this is something bad. It's just something like, hey, you might want to be aware of this fact that this is a hidden directory and that this directory is also hidden, because that is a favorite tactic of malware, is to hide themselves. So if we double click on it, it'll give us this that we can copy and paste and use in other locations. This also may be good for things that show up weird in this screen. You can look at the suspected path, and that'll usually be the actual path. Sometimes some of the ANSI stuff is a little bit difficult for even Windows itself to parse, especially without language packs and various things like that. So scrolling down here, let's look at a file, because this should have, oh, not that one. Oh, that's why, because I'm on directory still. Let's look at files. There we go. Bam, we find a file that we want to look more into because it hasn't been whitelisted yet. And over here on the right, we get a selected file inspection window. And basically this gives us all the tools and items we would want to be able to research more into that file. You can see that it has a virus total check and a is malware. The is malware actually checks against our definitions that we get from Sane Security, checks the hash against those definitions. If it finds it in there, then you can quickly, easily see that it's highlighted red and says it's malware hash definition matched. I believe it also will say it inside of the window pane here, but it is fairly prominent.
It does.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Then it also has a virus total match, and it may be because of my virtual system that it's not pulling up here. There we go. It's just that file, that H1S file.
And don't forget, there's that like API limitation on virus total now that'll prevent you from. Yeah, I don't think there's too much of a way around that at the moment to look into.
But yeah, for the most part, it will give you that, and if not, I believe you can still always click this and it'll take you to the virus total page. Is that right?
Oh yeah, yeah. It's just they want to limit the queries that you do automatically through software unless you pay them an exorbitant amount of money. Yep. So
either way, if you wanted to check it against virus total quickly, you can always just click there and it will show up with the page for that file and give you all the rundown on that file. So pretty nice and neat there. Close out of that. And some of the other interesting things that I want to point out on this page are, you obviously have the whitelist. So if we knew this was a good file and wasn't in a randomly named location, you can click whitelist and it won't show up in your list here again. Otherwise, you can open the path directly, so you can jump right to where that file is. Well, that one should have. It may be these Windows files that are a little bit funky and strange. Hold on. Let's see if we have a non-funky and strange one. Yeah, there you go. So some of those file and folder locations are a little bit funky and strange, so issues are to be expected with those. But you can see you can open a file path, jump right to it. If it's a DLL, you'll be able to check and see if it's actually currently registered. You'll also be able to search the registry and file system quickly for it. So right now it's searching for files here. Going to abort that. Quickly Google it with path, so with that full path of where it's located, or Google the name only. Usually I start with the name only, and then if I get a whole bunch of results back, I'll Google it with path. You can also look out on systemlookup.com. You can delete it. If it's a exe or executable file, you can create an IFEO right here. The other major nice function here is rename with dummy. Basically what this uses is or what this is for is when malware gets deleted, if it has another file that's monitoring for that file missing and recreates it immediately, that's what this is for. You rename with dummy, and essentially it puts a dummy file there and then prevents that from being recreated. I want to say, Nick, yeah. So
one creates the other, vice versa.
So what it does is there's an issue with deleting. Basically, what it is when you programmatically try to delete a file, that's different than programmatically trying to delete a folder. So when you replace a file with a folder and the system tries to replace that, then it can't because it's a folder, not a file, and it's expecting a file. If you do it with a folder, then it can't because it's a folder, or it's a file, not a folder, and it's expecting a folder. So I am probably terrible at explaining that, Nick, if you want to add any more on there.
Whatever it is, if it's a file or directory, it just creates the opposite because, and you did explain it right, in the API, if you attempt to delete a file or a folder, it's not going to do one, or if it's a file and you try to use the delete folder command, it won't work, and vice versa. And additionally, even deleting folders, there's always you can't just delete a folder with everything in it. You have to delete everything in it first, that kind of stuff. So, but the point is that most of the time, if malware is going to overwrite an executable, it's not going to go through the trouble to figure out if it's a directory or not. If it fails to overwrite it, it fails to overwrite it. It might try again, but it's not really going to do much else. Even the extra call to determine if it's a directory is not usually worth it for a lot of programmers, and they'll go straight to just trying to delete both. But that will fail as well if you don't know that it's a directory and there's stuff in it.
Is there a is there a recommended solution for IFEO versus that, or is it just more for additional options for preventing the execution?
Options, man, options. Sometimes you need to do everything you can, and in fact, now that I've spilled the beans, we might have to add permissions and ownership and shit to it.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
All right.
But yeah, it's just to keep malicious software from recreating itself, or even adware, because in the case of a dumb adware installer, if it tries to install the program files, the installer's not going to work. If there's a file there called conduit, so
Speak conduit specifically.
Actually, I would be sure the conduit would be going around that. They would be figuring something else out, but you know what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
Glenn says sometimes IFEO won't work. When is that, Glenn? Because that's a Windows feature that prevents things from running.
Yeah, and it's always possible that just anything you do with Windows to prevent something or even to allow something, the opposite can be done too. So. Obviously, if the malware is running and it's aware that you're writing an IFEO, it may try to stop you. It just doesn't happen much.
Yeah, that's what he said, was when he's trying to create the IFEO, he's getting stopped from doing that. So, yeah. Again, it's a cat and mouse game. So.
You can create those offline through D7 also on the offline tab, just FYI, from a boot disk or something like that, in case something's really taxing you.
Yeah, that was Zombie rather. EIEIO is my preferred name for it, but Microsoft went with IFEO. So.
EIEIO.
Yeah, that was our recommendation. Glenn's agreeing with you about that suspicion.
Yep. All right. So also something else I wanted to point out, because Zombie Worm asked if this was a current release or a new version, and with d7II and this update for dFunk, you can see there is no checkbox for doing updates to dFunk. That's because every time you open up dFunk, every time you open up d7II, it actually checks for a newer version of dFunk and automatically downloads and installs it. So you're always using the latest version of dFunk if you have internet access. So.
That would not be true for those people who never migrated from version 2 to version 3. d7II.
Yeah, so if you're still using version 2 of d7II, definitely highly recommend upgrading. Lots of great features and things that you're missing out on in version 3, actually. So.
There's no reason not to. It should work just fine.
Mm-hmm.
In other words, there's no reason why anyone would want to stay on 2. But remember, there is an issue of automatically updating from 2 to 3. So.
Well, that and your custom custom apps, you're going to have to redo those.
Very good point. Good point. But if that's not an issue, then there isn't. Yes, I
Michael,
have heard of this issue.
Can you find that blog post about the upgrade from version 2 to version 3 and post that in the chat so I can have it for YouTubers later?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I have that right here. One moment. And Glenn's mentioning the licensing error, and I've seen this too, and I'm a little bit unclear when and how that pops up.
Basically, it's whenever it's checking for an update, it's because it's out of date for the check for D7's internal checks, and then you have
if you get that error, you should just have to run d7II with an internet connection, and it will fix everything.
Yeah.
The dFunk module wasn't made to check the licensing from the server. It was just checking d7II's cached copies. So.
Hang on a second. Give me a second. That's not the one that's sent out. You're not talking about the one that's sent out in the purchase email, are you?
I don't think so. Just search the blog for d7II version 2.
Yeah.
All right, let's check out a little bit more here. Go ahead.
The word customizing is in the title of the post. That's all I remember. Customizing 7.2 or something like that.
All right, for the file system, to segue us into the registry section, basically all of these other ones are the same. Only other thing I probably would want to mention here is you can enable that custom file search on all locations. So you can see here it will just scan on its own settings here. Whoop. Or I crash it out.
Oh, neat. That's one of the things we need to look at. Hey, and before you do move on, though, the search settings also save individually for each different path that you click on to search. So you can set it up like that and save it and not worry about it again. You can even then disable the search options box when you're done configuring it, and you won't even have to see that again. And then that way you can have your different options for different areas.
Yep. So
that's not right, Mike. But it had to customize in it. That's why I pulled it.
Yeah, you can. Well, this is checking for definition updates, Zombie Worm, and this is the definitions for the hash-based definitions that it's checking there. Otherwise, yeah, so that's one thing I do want to point out is when we click on Start Folders here, you can see it's blank and 0 items. That's what you really want to see when you're clicking through all these, is blank and 0. Because that means you either whitelisted all of the files for Windows and third-party tools, or you have some other things that you haven't seen before and you want to check out. You can enable that custom file search on all of these. So like when we click on this, we'll get this search, and what Nick was saying is we can go ahead and customize this. Say search, it'll do its search, and then we can disable it and it won't pop up. But if we click here again, it will be doing that same search. And if we enable it again, we can check out that it is doing that same search on that one. See? Save.
Hey, can you verify for me? I don't think you actually have to search to save the settings. I think you can just close the dialog without searching.
Okay.
Just for configuration purposes. I'm not sure though. And if not, then I'll add.
Correct. So you can just configure it, X the box out. So you can go through and set all these how you want to search, and then you can come back here and disable that. You can also.
You should also. I'm sorry. You should also just be able to, like, when you have everything configured and you disable the box, you should be able to just kind of like click in the left column there and use the arrow keys. Can you? Or not. Certainly thought you could.
No arrow keys.
No, not in that dialog. I mean, just in the left-hand box if the switch were disabled. And just, like, scroll down between them. No. Never mind. I didn't say nothing. Coming next version.
You can for the first one, but not the later ones. All right, so PhilTheX is saying whenever he downloads updates, it gives him that error. I didn't get that error. d7II can definitely start offline. Not if you're using the SFX mini option, but it can definitely start offline. But yeah, see, I didn't get an error or issue there. I guess if you are seeing that a lot, let us know some of the circumstances, like if you are online, what version of Windows you're on. If you could actually even copy and send us your reg.settings.dat file, we can check that out and see why that might be going into it. But before you go all that route, I'll have Nick check more into that process and just kind of refresh and see. It's been focused on D7X, so it might take him a second to reorient, but he's coming back, so I'll have him do that first before he gets redistracted with D7X again. Another awesome thing here is, say we pick a file. Let's go back to where we have some files. There we go. We get the file inspection window, all that great stuff. We also get it automatically put up here, and we get this search file reg. If we click on that, we can say yes here. So this is going to start a new file registry search, and it's searching right now. If you wanted to do multiple searches, so not cancel it, you could say no. And if you wanted to cancel, you can obviously say cancel here. So great option there. You can also search the web quickly for it on lookup.com too. So great options there. And yeah, check out some of your options over here. I think we're going to wrap this one up today and then get into the registry and NTFS junctions and host file stuff tomorrow. Nick is not off the road. That's how good the roads are there.
Really? Jeez.
I'm not sure what part he's at, so it may be the roads are bad.
Actually, no, they're actually pretty good.
They're talking about your phone shaking.
Shaking, yeah.
Oh yeah. I'm on the bridge now, so it's.
Oh yeah. So yeah, he's on a
bridge,
super long
yeah.
bridge. Alright, so yeah, we're gonna stop off on this one and pick up tomorrow. I hope you learned a little bit about the file system capabilities. Like we said, there is so much that you can do in dFunk that it really is going to span 2 days, because we're going to go over this one tomorrow and some of these other tabs tomorrow. Not as much to go over on those, but then we'll also pick up a few little tips and tricks along the way from there as well. So, yeah, that's dFunk. Did y'all have any other things or stuff you want to talk about? I did, actually. Oh, wait, hold on. Let me pick one.
Bradley, I that's the only V2 link I could find. So I don't know what.
Alright, I'll search for it and do it like I should have done in the first place. Where did I save that stuff? Oh no. Oh, here we go. Oh, that doesn't look as good.
Actually, I think it looks pretty good.
That's an awesome scene. And
oh, that's from Final Fantasy.
Nope. Not at all.
From.
Oh wait, that's the same one. Alright, this one. Awesome scene. And final one. Awesome. And what that is this. I am so excited for this movie to come out. This is going to be awesome.
Yawn.
Damn. That is going to be so awesome coming out. SuicideSquad. That's the first official full-length trailer. Before, all we had was like a little sneak peek from some Comic Con or something like that.
Not Will Smith.
Will Smith is in it. This is the Joker, though. His teeth are metal. It's awesome. It is an awesome, like, it's just lined up to be super awesome. That and Deadpool are going to be awesome.
Did I miss something? I don't know what Suicide Squad is. What is it based on? Is it a comic book? Is it what is it?
I don't know. It's a movie. I don't read comic books. I'm an adult.
Sounds like Fight Club for Pansy.
Look it up. Look it up on the internet.
I'm driving.
But it's awesome. Just watch the trailer and go watch the movie if you don't know anything about it. It'll make the movie even better. So yeah, highly recommend that. That's going to be super awesome. Watch that.
Oh,
right now.
I get it.
John G said yes! Because that is going to be awesome. And that, along with Deadpool, I think are probably going to be 2 extremely great movies. So highly recommend that. Next thing we got to talk off real quick here is the Facebook Android app has a option for Tor now. So you can check out that article for more details, but Yeah, that's
an option for what?
a pretty interesting option. I did not also know that back in 2000, or no, that one's the 2014 that they added a Tor option, so that they have a .onion address. This one is the one for it adding Tor on their Android phone. So
what is the point of
maybe it's
combining
backwards.
Tor?
I don't know. Basically, Facebook has a .onion address, and you can get to it through the Android app. So that's pretty cool, I thought.
What's the point of that?
John G posted something. Let's see what it is.
What's fuck?
You just posted the same link I posted, John G.
Brantley, can you not hear John?
No.
Yeah, that's the exact same link, John G.
Where are we supposed to hear, John?
Through the speakers?
Proctor?
He was asking about the Tor thing. What was the purpose of it?
Yeah.
Oh, the
With
the
Facebook,
purpose
what's
of
the
it is to anonymize your accessing Facebook. So
Why?
especially if you're in restricted locations, internet restricted locations, you can get out with Tor. You can get to Facebook. So that would be the main thing. I think it's just an interesting thing. I'm not going to use it. It's just interesting.
So if you're in North Korea, you can still get to Facebook?
Yeah. Or like China.
Doctor, you hear me?
Why anybody
Yeah, I can hear you, John.
finds the Facebook
Oh, awesome.
desk-
Well,
why
I-
did you post that? You know how much I hate Facebook.
I can't hear. We can't hear John G. But apparently Proctor
It's
can.
not John G.
No, Nick.
It's John Me.
How is that possible?
Nick?
Can you hear Nick? Yeah.
No, Nick
no,
shows.
none of us hear Nick.
Yeah, Nick shows muted and video off.
Yeah.
How are
can
you
hear
hearing
Not to
him?
me.
I can see his video and hear his audio.
Yep.
Yeah, I can too. I can too.
Oh, that's weird.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, it shows his video is off and he's muted for me.
Same as
Stupid
Johnny.
Hangouts.
Format.
Johnny's
Tell him
always-
I said the format. Tell him I said the format.
Nick said the format.
Yes, John G is a superhero in that film. Suicide Squad.
I will format Hangouts. Yeah, and
You
Glenn
can hear
said-
Nick? How come everybody can hear Nick except for us,
Because
apparently?
it's going through Proctor's computer. So if Proctor can see it, then everyone else can. And yeah, I do see him on the stream. That's funny.
Oh, on the stream. That's weird.
All right, one last thing before we end it off for today.
What is wrong with Zombie?
He's talking about IFEOs, man. This is the software that I found that's much better for radio stuff. So check that one out, Michael. It's SDR-Radio. You have to download a license key, which is what I linked you to directly. So go ahead and do that first, then go to the download on the software. It's pretty fancy, and there's a lot of options in it, so definitely worth checking out. I found it did FM radio better than SDR Sharp did. But I haven't used that other one that you linked to with the terrible monochrome website.
Yeah, well, that one hasn't been updated since like 2012 or something like that. 2013, I can't remember, but somewhere. Is what this version 2 thing is that newer? No, it's maybe not.
I mean, the licenses are being kept updated, so. And version 3 is coming soon, he says.
Oh, excellent.
All right.
Is this license? Oh,
So that's those, and only other thing I was going to post was this interesting place to make antennas. This might relate to your tinfoil hats, zombie worm. And that was Glenn that was saying E-I-E-I-O. Michael. Anyway.
What did I say? Oh, did I say zombie? I'm sorry,
Yeah.
Glenn.
All right. That's our show for today.
No, zombie said it too. Zombie and Glenn said it.
Unless you have anything else to say about you.
I'm just going to try this license keys with the thing here.
All right, well, you don't have to do that on the air or mumbling out loud on the air. So, thanks everyone for joining us. I don't have any pie news today, Zombie Worm. I had to do all this research and prepare for the dFunk video, so no pie news today. Plus, I think I watched that SuicideSquad trailer like 100,000 times and didn't look at any other news. So
I use it all the time. You didn't have to do research. You used the damn thing.
What? Oh, for the blog? I can look that up real quick because Michael can't do it apparently.
Nick says, what kind of research did you have to do on dFunk, Brantley? You use it all the time.
You use the damn thing.
Huh?
You use the damn thing, he says.
I don't use it all the time. It's been months since I've done it because I've been working on Crypto Prevent.
It's been
all
longer
I see
than that
is
since anything's
Crypto
changed
Prevent
with
and
it.
software restriction policies and filter updates and things like that now.
Wah, wah, wah. Wah.
Let's see. Translate Nick for us.
Wah.
He says, wah, wah, wah.
Alright, so I typed in one search term and the first result was this, which is what we were talking about. Thank you, Zombie Worm, for reminding us that Michael doesn't know how to search. All I did was d7II v3.
Sort of. That I found that one too. But I didn't think that was what you were talking about. Why is the sort of release thing what you were looking for?
Because there's a paragraph that's in bold that says there is one big catch, but there is but one catch. That's why it's incompatible. Oh, that download link is wrong too, but...
Okay. I did find that. I just didn't think that's what you were looking for. My apologies. I could have posted that.
What else were we looking for? Easy to say that now that you did find it.
I have it in my browser history.
I'm just going to take that download out of there. That doesn't need to be on a blog post anyway. Alright. Thanks everyone for joining us. We'll be back tomorrow.
What's the download link?
Zombie, log into your DMZ and download the fully customized version. You'll be better starting off there anyway.
There are whitelists in DMZ also.
Yeah, that'll have all the whitelists and everything, and you're going to have to recreate your stuff anyway. I know you can't see a link. I just deleted that link from that blog post. Alright, so yeah, we'll be back tomorrow, 6 p.m. Go over some more of the dFunk stuff. Hope you liked today's show and learned some stuff about the file side of things. And maybe if we go through the registry stuff quickly tomorrow, we'll have a virus system that we can play around with it. Also, you can check out Proctor's malware removal video where he used dFunk to remove up some virus stuff too. So, until tomorrow, we will see y'all then. Thanks everyone for joining us, and Proctor, you can roll her on out.
See ya.
Bye, guys.